Hello everyone, and welcome to my CBS Wonderful Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Eric's job leaks, Taylor and Deacon sneak, Dylan flees town. The bold and the beautiful spoilers update for the week of February 2nd to 6th reveals that Steffy Forrester Finnegan will shoot shockwaves while Eric Forrester's job leaks and Taylor Hayes faces an awful dilemma. After Steffy returns from San Francisco, she'll explode over Taylor's continued involvement with Deacon Sharp. Taylor will be forced to stop spending time with Cleric if she wants to keep her relationship with Steffy and her grandchildren. Once Steffy delivers that claim, B&B spoilers say Taylor will give Cleric updates soon after. Cleric and Taylor will lock lips again after covenanting to figure out a result to their problem. Of course, the short-term result may involve stealing moments together when no bone differently is watching. Cleric and Taylor may have no choice but to get sneaky about their meetings if they want to stay connected to each other. Sheila Sharp will continue to believe her marriage is growing stronger, but it'll actually be weakening due to Deacon's desire for a future with Taylor. As for Rich Forrester, he'll deal with some guilt and maybe assume Eric Forrester must be bored of withdrawal by now. Rich pushed Eric out of the picture, so he'll solicitude about him in the coming occurrences. Of course, Ridge wouldn't realize Eric is throwing himself into a new chapter of his career at Logan. Eric's developer secret will blunder to Liam Spencer, who'll no doubt assure Eric, Katie Logan Spencer and Bill Spencer that he'll keep a lid on it. Over with RJ Forrester, he'll let Carter Walton take a look at some of his new designs. As for Dylan, she seems poised to tell Electra Forrester, and will Spencer that she entered a job offer in another megacity. It looks like Dylan may try to do FX Ivy Forrester's way, and lie to Electra along with Will. Ivy doesn't want Dylan around to make moves on Electra's Swain, so Dylan may seriously consider bolting from Los Angeles. Dylan may feel like it's the only way to stop Ivy from dishing to Electra and misrepresenting what she saw at the Sand House. Still, Dylan will get RJ's attention during their forthcoming hassle. RJ has some sway with Ridge, so he might come through for Dylan despite Steffy's failure to lock in a position for her. Ivy might be open to letting Dylan stay if she moves out of the guest room on Will's property, and maybe starts cozying up to RJ rather. Next, Steffy will shock Ridge with the news that Taylor and Deacon have passions for each other. Ridge will throw plenitude of questions at Steffy, who may assure him that she's done everything she can to shut their love down. Indeed so, the bold and the beautiful spoilers say Ridge will have enterprises along with Steffy, and will inescapably face off with Cleric ultimately. The week ahead on the bold and the beautiful unfolds like a slow-burning campfire, consuming connections, commitment and secrets that characters believed they could control, but which now hang to explode in every direction at formerly. After returning from San Francisco, Steffy Forrester Finnegan doesn't ease back into Los Angeles life still. Rather, she storms back into the emotional center of the family with a renewed sense of authority and urgency, induced that decisive action is the only way to cover what she values most. Steffy has spent enough time down to see the situation with clarity, and what she sees disturbs her deeply. Taylor Hayes continuing her connection to Deacon Sharp despite every red flag, every painful memory, and every warning Steffy believes should have ended this situation long ago. To Steffy, this isn't just about love or particular choice, it's about heritage, safety, and the emotional stability of her children and grandchildren. She views Deacon as a destabilizing force, someone whose history alone disqualifies him from any part in their lives, and she's no longer willing to tolerate what she sees as Taylor's dangerous indulgence in a fantasy that could shatter everything Steffy has fought to cover. When Steffy eventually confronts Taylor, the emotional impact is seismic. Times of mama-son pressure, buried resentments, and implied bummers come roaring to the face, and Steffy delivers a claim that leaves no room for concession. Taylor must choose between Deacon and her relationship with Steffy and the children. It's a moment that cuts Taylor to her core, forcing her to defy the cost of her heart's solicitations against the reality of her family's prospects. Taylor, who has spent important of her life trying to be the moral compass in the chaos of the Forrester world, suddenly finds herself painted as the problem, and the weight of that consummation is crushing. She understands Steffy's fears, indeed shares some of them, but she cannot deny the connection she feels with Cleric. A connection embedded not in recklessness, but in collective understanding, redemption, and a participated sense of being judged by a world unintentional to let them evolve. When Taylor takes Steffi's words back to Deacon, the graveness of the situation becomes inarguable. The two of them are sorrowfully apprehensive that their relationship exists on espoused time, that every moment together now carries threat, secretiveness, and consequence. Their decision to lock lips again after covenanting to find a result isn't driven by defiance, but by despair, a need to hold on to commodity real in a world that keeps trying to rip it down. In the days that follow, Deacon and Taylor slip into the murk, stealing moments when no bone is watching, sorrowfully apprehensive that secretiveness is both their retreat and their death. Each retired meeting deepens their bond while contemporaneously tensing the mesh around it, and both of them know that the verity, when it eventually emerges, will be far more destructive because of the falsehoods concentrated on top of it. Meanwhile, Sheila Sharp remains blissfully ignorant that the foundation of her marriage is worsening beneath her bases. To Sheila, Deacon's affection and fidelity appear stronger than ever, corroborated by participated history and the vision of stability she has long craved. She interprets his jest as commitment, not realizing that his heart is drifting further down with each passing day. Deacon's craving for a future with Taylor weakens his emotional investment in Sheila, creating a silent fracture that grows wider the longer the verity remains retired. The woeful irony is that Sheila, who has been betrayed and abandoned innumerous times, senses none of it, at least not yet. But when Sheila eventually realizes that Deacon's heart belongs away, the fallout will be disastrous, not just for Deacon and Taylor, but for everyone in Sheila's route. Across city, Rich Forrester wrestles with a quieter, but no less significant sense of apprehension. Though he outwardly projects confidence and control at Forrester Creations, internally he's scuffling with guilt over the way he sidelined Eric Forrester. Ridge induced himself that it was time for the coming generation to take the arm, that Eric merited rest and respect rather than responsibility, but now doubts creep in. Ridge prodigies if he pushed his father out too suddenly, if Eric's apparent acceptance of withdrawal masked deeper frustration or resentment. Ridge assumes Eric must be wearied, restless, maybe indeed hurt by being removed from the creative twinkle of the company he erected. What Ridge doesn't know, and what will soon change everything, is that Eric has not faded still into the background. Rather, Eric has embarked on a bold and unanticipated new chapter, channelizing his passion into a secret developer part at Logan, proving that creativity doesn't dwindle with age, and that his heritage is far from finished. Eric's decision to work behind the scenes isn't fueled by vengeance, but by a desire to remain applicable, challenged, and creatively alive. Still, secrets in Los Angeles have a way of surfacing at the worst possible moments, and Eric's developer job doesn't stay retired for long. When the verity leaks to Liam Spencer, the situation becomes precarious. Liam, caught between fidelity and curiosity, assures Eric, Katie Logan Spencer, and Bill Spencer that he'll keep the information non-public, but indeed his stylish intentions may not be enough to stop the Ripple goods formerly whispers begin circulating. Eric's involvement at Logan threatens to blur lines between business and family indeed further, raising questions about fidelity, competition, and whether Ridge truly understands what his father is able of when pushed away. At Forrester Creations, R.J. Forrester steps into a more confident part of his own, still showing Carter Walton his rearmost designs. R.J.'s work reflects a mix of tradition and invention, and Carter recognizes the implicit not just in the designs themselves, but in R.J.'s growing belief in his own gift. This creative instigation places R.J. at the center of multiple stories, including one that may alter Dylan's fate. Dylan, feeling decreasingly cornered, prepares to tell Electra Forrester and Will Spencer that she has entered a job offer in another megacity. Whether this offer is real or inflated matters less than what it represents: an escape. Dylan believes that leaving Los Angeles may be the only way to help Ivy Forrester from twisting the narrative and destroying her character by misrepresenting what happened at the Sand House. Ivy, fiercely defensive of Electra and deeply suspicious of Dylan's intentions, has made it clear she doesn't want Dylan anywhere near Will. Faced with Ivy's hostility and the trouble of public demotion, Dylan seriously considers following Ivy's implied suggestion to vanish. Still, Dylan's hassle with RJ complicates everything. RJ sees through the face position drama and recognizes Dylan's vulnerability, seeing that she's running not because she's shamefaced, but because she's hysterical of being Ms. New. RJ's influence with Ridge gives him influence, and for the first time, Dylan casts the possibility that someone might actually stand up for her. Ivy, for her part, may soften her station if Dylan agrees to new boundaries, moving out of Will's guest room and turning her attention away, maybe indeed toward RJ. The implied concession underscores the transactional nature of peace in this world, where particular freedom frequently comes at the cost of concession. As these pressures poach, Steffi drops another stunner, this time on Ridge, revealing that Taylor and Deacon have developed passions for each other. The disclosure hits Ridge hard, continuing old injuries and kindling a flood tide of questions about judgment, boundaries, and whether history is repeating itself in the most painful way possible. Steffi insists that she has done everything she can to shut the love down, but Ridge isn't comforted. Rather, he's consumed by concern, not just for Taylor's well-being, but for the broader counter-accusations this relationship could have on the family. Ridge knows Deacon's history too well to ignore it, and the ineluctability of a battle looms large. When Ridge eventually faces Cleric, it'll not just be about Taylor, it will be about control, redemption, and who has the right to decide what kind of future is respectable in the Forrester world. By the end of the week, every plot converges around a single verity: no bone can keep running from their choices ever. Secrets are slipping, commitment are being tested, and the lines between right and wrong are blurring beyond recognition. Love, formerly again, proves to be both the topmost motivator and the most dangerous armament of all, and as February unfolds, the consequences of these hidden connections promise to reshape lives in ways no bone saw coming. As the days stretch on, the emotional foreshocks of Steffi's claim begin to ripple outward, touching every corner of the Forrester, Logan, and Spencer worlds in ways no bone completely anticipates. Taylor Hayes, long regarded as the emotional anchor of her family, finds herself unraveling under the pressure of being forced into a choice she no way believed she'd have to make. For times, Taylor has endured judgment, heartache, and treason with countenance, always prioritizing what she believed was stylish for her children. Now still she's being asked to immolate not just a relationship, but a sense of tone she only lately rediscovered. The connection she shares with Deacon Sharp isn't commodity she can simply shut off, no matter how desperately she wishes she could. Every time she tries to part herself, she feels the pang of loss settle deeper into her casket, reminding her that this bond is embedded in emotional honesty rather than impulse. Yet Steffi's words echo relentlessly, forcing Taylor to defy the reality that choosing Cleric may bring her diurnal access to her grandchildren, a loss that feels nearly unsupportable. Cleric, for his part, becomes decreasingly equivocal as he watches Taylor struggle under the weight of prospects placed upon her by a family that has no way completely trusted him. Despite times of trouble to rebuild his character, to prove he's able of stability and sincerity, Deacon realizes that redemption in this world is tentative and fragile. No matter how important he changes, his history continues to define him in the eyes of those who hold power. The secretiveness girding his meetings with Taylor begins to take a risk on him as well. Each stolen moment carries with it a sharp turnabout of guilt, not only toward Sheila but toward himself. Cleric has spent so long averring that he wants a clean, honest future, yet he now finds himself living a taradiddle, hiding his true passions and pretending that his marriage is commodity it no longer is. The consummation gnaws at him, creating a growing sense of urgency that commodity must change before the damage becomes unrecoverable. Ignorant of the emotional storm brewing just beneath the face, Sheila Sharp continues to operate under the supposition that her marriage is solidifying into the stability she has always craved. Sheila's belief that she and Deacon are eventually erecting a future together gives her a renewed sense of confidence, one that borders on dangerous sanguinity. She begins to make plans, subtle at first, also decreasingly bold, visioning a life where she's no longer on the outside looking in. Still, the cracks are there, visible to anyone willing to look nearly. Deacon's emotional distance, his distracted address, and his growing disinclination to engage in long-term plans all serve as advising signs Sheila refuses to admit. Her denial isn't born of ignorance but of fear, the fear that if she admits the verity, everything she has fought so hard to secure will slip through her fritters yet again. When Sheila ultimately senses that commodity is wrong, the treason won't simply wound her. It'll enkindle a fury shaped by times of rejection and loss. At Forrester Creations, Rich Forrester's internal conflict deepens as he continues to grapple with the consequences of pushing Eric into the background. Rich prides himself on being decisive, on doing what he believes is necessary for the future of the company, yet the apprehension he feels refuses to fade. He watches Eric more nearly now, noticing subtle changes in his address and energy, a quiet confidence that suggests Eric is far from disentangled. Ridge misinterprets this as restlessness, no way suspecting that his father has set up an entirely new outlet for his creativity. The irony is painful. Ridge believes he has taken control of the company's future, yet he's eyeless to the fact that Eric's influence is still expanding in a direction he no way considered. When word of Eric's secret work at Logan begins to circulate, the counter-accusations extend far beyond a simple career move. Eric's involvement threatens to blur long-standing battles and alliances, particularly as Logan's designs begin gaining attention. Though Liam Spencer does his stylish to keep the secret contained, the information weighs heavily on him. Liam understands the volatility of the Forrester-Logan dynamic and knows that indeed a tale of Eric's involvement could reignite old conflicts. His fidelity is stretched thin as he balances respect for Eric with concern for Ridge, apprehensive that once the verity comes out, the fallout will be nippy and enduring. Katie Logan Spencer, meanwhile, watches Eric with a blend of admiration and concern, proud of his adaptability but cautious of the emotional consequences that may follow when Ridge inescapably discovers the verity. As R.J. Forrester's confidence grows, his part within the company becomes decreasingly significant. Carter Walton's interest in R.J.'s designs isn't simply professional, it signals a shift in how the coming generation is being perceived. R.J.'s creative instincts reflect a perceptivity and depth that reverberate with those around him, setting him piecemeal from the power struggles that have long defined the family. This growing respect places R.J. in a unique position of influence, one he may not yet completely understand. His involvement with Dylan, though originally unintentional, becomes a turning point in her story. Dylan, overwhelmed by Ivy's hostility and the trouble of being painted as a villain, finds unanticipated comfort in R.J.'s amenability to hear without judgment. For the first time since arriving in Los Angeles, Dylan feels seen rather than scanned. The possibility of leaving city looms over Dylan like a dark pall. Though she presents the idea of a job offer away as a practical decision, the verity is far more emotional. Leaving would mean surrendering any chance to clear her name, to prove that she isn't the manipulative busybody Ivy believes her to be. Yet staying carries its own pitfalls, particularly if Ivy follows through on her pitfalls to expose her interpretation of events to Elektra. Ivy's determination to cover her bastard and her family's stability drives her conduct, indeed as it blinds her to the complexity of Dylan's situation. Ivy's amenability to negotiate Dylan's continued presence, under strict conditions, reveals the extent to which control and concession are intertwined in this world. Peace is no way freely given. It's earned through concession. Meanwhile, Steffi's disclosure to Ridge about Taylor and Deacon sets off a chain response that neither of them can stop. Ridge's original shock gives way to wrathfulness, also to a deeper sense of disappointment that cuts far more sprucely. He questions not only Taylor's judgment, but his own part in creating a family dynamic where emotional honesty feels insolvable. Ridge has spent times oscillating between control and chaos, believing that strong opinions can help heartache. Now he faces the uncomfortable verity that no quantum of authority can mandate who people love. His brewing battle with Cleric is fueled by further than covetousness or moral outrage. It's driven by fear that history is repeating itself, that the same patterns of pain will continue to hang the family he's hopeless to cover. As the week progresses, pressures continue to mount, with no plot being an insulation. Every secret threatens to collide with another, creating an unpredictable blend of verity and deception. Taylor's silence grows heavier by the day, her attempts to maintain normality strained by the knowledge that her choices will soon demand responsibility. Cleric, decreasingly restless, begins to question whether secretiveness is sustainable, or whether the only path forward lies in radical honesty, no matter the cost. Sheila's growing apprehension simmers just beneath her composed surface, intimating at a reckoning that won't be fluently contained. Ridge's guilt and dubitation edge his instincts, pushing him closer to uncovering trueness that others are hopeless to keep retired. By the end of this unfolding chapter, it becomes clear that the fragile balance holding everyone together is on the verge of collapse. Love, ambition, and fidelity collide in ways that leave lasting scars, And the choices made during this vital moment will shape connections for months, if not times, to come. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, no secret stays buried ever, and as the characters brace themselves for what lies ahead, one thing is certain: the consequences of this week will echo long after the final verity is revealed.